I guess we can get started. So once again, welcome to our today's webinar session. This is kind of a new type of webinars we're having today, concentrating more on the development and integration side of Solibri, and today especially on the development side, and talking about value adding rule development today. This webinar will be recorded, so we will send you the link after the session, and we will also post it on our YouTube channel. So if you don't have time to join the full session today, or if you want to share it to your colleagues, no problem, you can get the recording. So and then it's possible to view that later on. Moving on. So today's agenda. So I'm your host, Riina. I'm the product marketing manager at Solibri. Our agenda today. So first we have Wafa Alsakini from our team talking about this new third-party developers network program that we have, what it's about, and how it can benefit people who are using Solibri in their projects. And then we have our guest speaker, Tomas Feterik from FPT Software, and he's going to share how they are adding value for their customers as a third-party developer of Solibri, and he has also some case study examples to share. And then after the presentations, we will have a little bit of time for your questions. But you can send those already at any point of the webinar to the chat. If you have any questions, then we will start going them through after the presentations. It will help us a lot if you put also when you write your question, if you also say who your question is more for. Is it for Wafa or Solibri or Tomas and FPT? So it's a bit easier then for us to get the answer for you. Now, just one more thing before we get to the actual agenda. We'd like to hear a little bit from you as well, who are now online. So there is this poll that we would like to ask you about what kind of challenges you have faced relating to the rule development in Solibri. So, for example, do you have or have you experienced a lack of knowledge in translating the project or company or national based requirements to specifications in order to create the new rules? Or is there a lack of knowledge or skills in developing the rules themselves, or maybe lack of resources for doing the development work? If there's something else, some other type of challenges you have, you can send a comment to the chat if you want to share more about that. You can also select multiple options in case you've faced several of these challenges. So you don't need to pick just one. I'm gonna wait a bit more to get your responses. A bit over half of you have voted so far. So let's see. Yeah, I'm giving it a couple of more seconds and then I will close the poll, so you have still a little time to cast your answer. All right. I'm gonna close the poll 1, 2, 3 now. And let me share you the replies, how it looks. So maturity, I have been facing the that there's not enough skills or knowledge in developing the rules in Solibri. So that's 66%. And then almost 40% each lack of skills in translating the requirements to specifications for new rules, and a lack of resources for doing the development, and then there's a few with some other type of challenges that we can look into later on or offline. All right, thank you for joining the poll and sharing your thoughts on this. So now let's get to today's agenda. And like I said, first we have Wafa talking about the new third-party developer network program that we have. So let me just give Wafa the presenter rights first.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see you and
Okay.
hear you. See also your beautiful face in the webcam.
Thank you very much.
Thank
okay,
you.
hello everyone. I'm starting. Hello everyone. This is Wafa Alsakini. I'm the project manager for AutoCode checking services at Solibri, and also I'm heading the third-party developers network program. Today I will present this program to you, introduce it in a bit details, and also our first certified network developer, FPT Software. Okay, so what is the, let us start with the current situation in Solibri that led to the whole idea of the program. Of course, Solibri is a software product company, but we have been like facing an increased demand for tailor-made rules, other than ones that we always had in our installation folder. And most of these rules, as you know, they are very requires local presence in the where the project is or the customer is, in order to understand better the requirements, the local requirements. Also, there has been increasing demand for Solibri to become a core checker for automated code checking systems, like, for example, e-permitting systems, especially from the local authorities. And in these situations, usually Solibri becomes part of a whole system, not the whole system checking system itself. The challenge is that our consulting services are limited, and the timing for these projects, they are like a bit challenging for us. Sometimes it's not like when we are available. Just to have a look about what the rules are. Most of you know that actually that our rules are, they are like rule templates. Either they are like empty, where you as users, fill them with your own building requirements, parameters, or then you just, use the ones that have already been parameterized. So this means that you just adjust the existing rules. And then the next step, you might, put these rules together into rule sets, and then you do the checking with these bunch of rule sets into groups, and into extensions, for example. So there's a lot of way to, manage these rules by creating rule sets. Underneath all this, of course, lies the rule template itself, which requires coding, and that it means the rule development. So far, our R&D at Solibri has been doing all of these, creating the rule templates, also adjusting the existing rules. We have a lot of our rules that are parameterized, ready for use. We also have extensions for rule sets, and we keep developing in new rules as well. But what happens is that what could be has been happening so far is that our customers and third party cannot develop their own rules. Developing a rule template has always been like a black box that only Solibri development team was able to work it with it. So that's why, and that was mainly because it required Java programming. So in order to overcome this obstacle, what we did is to introduce the rules API so that our customers and third-party developers then now can create their own rules, and they can tailor software according to their own requirement. That has been a very big step for us to open up these black boxes and share it with our customers and third-party developers. So why do we need now this program if we have already done the API? Actually, Solibri customers have been having these, like I mentioned, extra need for rules, rule sets, and other resources. And these are actually rules, they are either based on their local building requirements and regulations. They can be also company or project-based or specific requirements. And sometimes they are very business sensitive requirements that cannot be shared outside of their organization. That kind of need has been growing up lately. Also, most of our Solibri customers, they don't have their internal development capabilities, as we just saw from the survey. Not everybody has a core development team within their organization in order to develop their requirements into rules. And as Solibri API are open and documented now to allow the external developers to customize the software. So the Solibri Society now is ready in order to provide assistance and to any developers, and also it's a place where actually they can advertise their skills and availability. So this is in a nutshell how the program works. The AutoCode checking services now has been extended into third-party developers network program. The program has three kind of groups in nutshell. There is the developer companies, and then there are network for the individual developers on SDP, and then there is Solibre Lab, which is actually aimed for education institutions. So for the developer companies, what happens? The developer companies can be any of Solibri users who have their own core development team. It can be any IT development company, software developers. For example, FPT Software is an example of that. Individual developers, as I said, it is just like people who are just experienced in development, and they can join Solibri Society and make use of the Solibri development platform in order to access our example API rules and also learn about the new API rules that have been developed by our R&D. We have exposed their specifications and the source code so that the developers can educate themselves and learn how to develop their own rules. With the Solibre Lab, we are aiming to, the technical universities, institution of science, and schools of applied sciences. We have special onboarding programs for their degree students. How this will work? The developer companies, they will have partner in the projects, whether it is the project belongs to a public sector, for example, authorities, municipalities, or it might be very private customer, like from the private sector, and there might be a need for new market entry. So actually the developers can, what we are going to do as Solibri is to provide pre-sale services and also support in order to put these two parties together, the third-party developers and also these public or private sectors customers, and we put them together in order to run their projects. Meanwhile, actually, this developer network companies, we are onboarding them with a special training package, which contains two parts. First part is a learning process. It is exactly like what we do for the individual developers. They are able to access the SDP and learn from the existing rules. And then actually we give them like test rules, 2 or 3 new rules development. We give them requirements, building requirements, and they need to follow all the procedure or the workflow in order to create new rules. And of course, at the end of this onboarding would be the certification. The third-party developers network, as I said, anybody can participate in this network, whether it is like any of our Solibri users who familiar with the Solibri product, or any software developer who is specialized in IT development. And the Solibri role will be to provide and support the necessary technology. We do, take care of our Solibri engine, and we try to make it in its best shape for your, of course, use. The third-party developer is usually contracted by the customer directly. Or then we do some kind of pre-sale services to put them together. So the customers could be any of the private building owners, construction companies, they can be consultant or government agencies. The development task for the third-party developer can range from either developing totally new rule template using the API technology, or then redeveloping the existing Solibri API rules. We do have our own API rules that have been developed with the API technology since 2018. So any you who are a third-party developer, you can just redevelop, for example, make it more complicated or dismantle it, make it more than one rule. It's up to you. You will know how to manage this thing. Or then to customize the existing API rules, to your use, and also to put them into rule sets. So all these kind of tasks can be done by the developers for their existing customers in the projects. So the certification will provide the third-party developer access to Solibri R&D support. That will be for free on our Solibre Society. Also, there could be extra training sessions that to be agreed between the third-party developer and Solibri. And also the third-party developer company will obtain at least 10 licenses for the training, but these should not be used on any private project development. The support will be also for the API development, so any need to develop the API further, that will be also can be discussed between the third-party developer and Solibri, so that we will include that to our roadmap. The certification, actually, it is annual. So whoever obtains the certificate needs after a year to renew it. So any certified developer who runs any project, development project within a year, that will be an enough reason to extend the certification for the next year. But if the developer is not involved in any development project, then they might need some kind of onboarding again. So what can Solibri offer the third-party developer? We will offer visibility on .com. So it will be like case studies of the work that the developer has achieved, for example, any new work. Also, the developers will obtain a business platform in order to promote their work on Solibri Society, and also access to Solibri partners list, and access to our selected Solibri enterprise customers who have their own development needs. And also become part of the network so that we will provide the pre-sale services for them. And pre-sale services will, like I mentioned, include pairing the customers, whether they are public or private customers, with the third-party developers on their own projects. So overall, we are creating new work possibilities for our developers. Thank you very much. That was in a nutshell about the third-party developers program at Solibri. Thank you.
Thanks, Wafa. If you have any questions on the program for Wafa, please just send them to the chat, and we will go them through then a bit later on this session. Now our next step is the presentation by Tomas Feterik from FPT. So let's hear what you can share about your experiences so far, and what kind of cases you've had regarding rule development. I will share the screen now for you.
Thank you, Rina. Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Greetings from Slovakia. My name is Tomas Feterik. I'm the Presales Consultant here at FPT Software. And today I would like to talk to you about how we are adding value for our customers as Solibri's third-party developer. Let me go quickly through the agenda of the presentation on the slide deck. I'll briefly talk about FPT Software. Some of you may not be aware of who we are as a company, so I'll cover that. Then I'd like to talk a bit about actually our relationship between FPT and Solibri, how it started, how it has been developing, and where we are right now. Then I'll focus on what our added value is for customers, our role in the third-party developers network, and then, as mentioned before, I'll go over actually 2 case studies that we have prepared for the webinar today. So, starting about us, FPT Software, we are indeed a leading global digital transformation provider. Global in the sense that we have presence actually in 26 countries, development centers, we may say, in every major time zone, and around 56 offices. Of course, FPT Software is part of FPT as a group, as you can see on the left. Currently, we have around 18,000 employees. And we serve a number of different customers from various domains, whether it is utility, automotive, healthcare, you name it. What is really unique about FPT Software is that we also have our, let's say, education group. What that means is that we actually have our own university, where we have around 50,000 students enrolled over 4 campuses. And this really allows us to have, let's say, resources being trained directly by us and then being incorporated in our projects. As you can see, we also take great pride in having our campuses being very nice and beautiful. The last one being our FPT Tower in Hanoi that just opened this year. From a delivery perspective, actually, what makes FPT quite unique is our best shore service delivery model. What it actually represents is quite simple, but still very unique. We want, on one hand, be very close to our customers from a culture perspective, from a language perspective, but on the other hand, of course, be cost effective and provide 24/7 support. And this is what the best shore model allows. We can have a direct interface with our customers, with being on site, and then having a strong consultancy capabilities in our nearshore, and of course, have amazing capacity and capability in our offshore offices. So this really is what makes us quite capable of delivering at any time a great quality service. With regards to our services and offering portfolio, actually we can divide it into, let's say, 3 areas or 3 pillars. There's digital transformation services, digital technology services, and then IT or technology services. Of course, we are professional in very popular and modern technologies nowadays, such as AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, RPA, even big data. I mean, you name it. But of course, we are leaning towards really allowing our customers to move in, to transform really digitally in a way that allows them to grow, of course. Here on this slide are just a few engagements that you can see. As I mentioned, we really are present in a lot of different industries. As you can see from the left, RWE Energy, this is utility. Schaeffler, for example, manufacturing. Airbus, of course, aerospace. Allianz in the finance and insurance area, and even Siemens in healthcare. This is just a an overview of all the different, let's say, very important customers that we have. And now let me move on to the core of the presentation, and that's our relationship between FPT and Solibri. It actually started in 2019. We started developing model checking rules for a Japanese company. Of course, one might ask why, how did we get to Solibri actually? Well, it was the customer that actually asked us, like, guys, can you help us with this? There's this tool, Solibri. It seemed very promising to us when we saw what it can do. And we also realized that actually the developer network isn't that crowded. So we've made a decision that as a consulting company, that this is another domain where we can improve and then offer services to various customers. So we decided to work with the customer to create requirements, to design, develop model checking rules, and we even remained in the maintenance phase after the development. We remained in charge, and we started to get to know about Solibri a little bit more. We realized, you've heard about, or you are aware, of course, of Solibri Society. We realized that FPT is maybe one of the few, or if not the only, actually developer that aside of the end users, that is engaging in Solibri Society, and we really were among the first to investigate how can we extend Solibri, how can we expand, how can we customize it, and after this initial, let's say, engagement, we then were able to, of course, gather knowledge, gather our skills in Solibri, and then show them off to our other customers. That's when we move on to the year 2020, where we focused on implementing pilot model checking rules with Solibri. One of them, of course, was a pilot for 6 regulatory rules in Singapore, which I will talk about a bit later in one of the case studies. We actually officially cooperated with Solibri. So we of course, we educated ourselves. We worked as a contractor, and we implemented this pilot phase in Singapore. Of course, we continued our engagement and activity also in Japan, in other companies, where we expanded these Solibri projects. So slowly but surely we were gathering more and more knowledge, and of course even capacity, so there were more people on FPT side who were being onboarded, and based on the discussions that we had at the time with Solibre, we realized that if we even further strengthen our cooperation, then there might be several business opportunities, but also, as Wafa mentioned, right, we can allow the clients and customers really to do the work that they need without them having to compromise on their resources or knowledge. Now we move on to 2021, of course, where we became the first certified member of the third-party developers network. And actually, this month we're kicking off a larger project with another Japanese company using Solibri, for which we are very excited, of course. And on the other hand, we are still continuing to work on other, let's say, previous projects with older customers who are still using the Solibri license. So we continue to support our current, or let's say previous customers, while of course kicking off this large project in Japan as the first member of the third-party developers network. Of course, I've mentioned that our resources were growing. Of course, we didn't dive right into a pool of knowledge, and as of right now, we have around 70 headcount, 70 people working in development, primarily, of course, Java developers who build and customize custom rules. They also design solutions and integrate with the external systems. So, for example, Solibri Office, BCF, BIM. Of course, part of it is also customizing custom rules by Java programming. We cannot even forget about the testing area, testing part. So, executing unit tests, integration tests, user acceptance tests, and so on. But of course, also optimizing custom rules performance. Then one of the very important areas or parts of our resources, of course, dedicated to Solibri are our business consultants or business analysts. Currently, there's around 10 of them. The reason I mentioned that they're quite important is that, as you may have seen in the previous presentation, it is quite important to have people knowledgeable in Solibri being on site. And that's why we're talking about business analysts who really have a deep knowledge in the construction domain, who are well aware of the, let's say, legal requirements or the local regulations or the regulations by different authorities. And that's why these consultants actually, of course, consult the requirements for the new system. They suggest any optimization, even consult, of course, on the models itself. So it may happen that some of these models are inconsistent. I'll talk about that in a minute. And of course, they articulate business design considerations, trade-offs, benefits, and recommendations. Last but not least, we have 5 project managers, certified ones, who oversee the projects in Solibri. Previously, I mentioned our service portfolio of the whole company, and now with regards to Solibri, of course, there's also different types of services that we offer. Let's say the first one, we can start from the left, are consulting services, where we really focus on offering, an overall solution proposal, budgeting proposal, even preparing an implementation action plan. On the other hand, of course, much important is the requirement assessment. So we really pride ourselves in our capabilities to do requirement analysis and requirement assessment. And then once we move on to the development phase, right, we are able to cover the design and architecture, the development itself, and also the testing. With regards to design and architecture, we cover validating custom rule architectures, designing architecture patterns, and of course translating business concepts into application modules. In development, we integrate modules and external systems, do bug fixing and quality evaluation, and of course implement follow the design. With regards to testing, as I've mentioned, integration tests and again different kinds of bug fixing. What we still do as well is support. So after the development phase, once the let's say rules have been developed and implemented, then we of course our administrators can support customers with regards to platform maintenance, monitoring, 24/7 support or help desk services, and even provide advice to to improve security, stability, and performance of the Solibri platform and the applications. Now, after having heard all of this, of course, the question is how then are we adding value to our customers? Well, firstly, in the requirement analysis phase, right, as I have mentioned, we have teams of experienced business analysts on site or near shore, of course, preferably due to the nature of the requirements. It is, of course, definitely preferable to be on site together with our customers to analyze the requirements. That can be from the customer company, from the project, or even national building regulations. Then our business analyst teams consult domain specialists to have full understanding of the requirement in order to create a requirement specification, right? One that makes it, effortless to create a rule. Moving on to rule development, the way we work is that the majority of the regulation checks are created as a set of smaller rules that are then customizable by users. In addition to that, of course, FPT Software are also developing regulation checks as custom rules. What this allows is for the rules to have the flexibility to customize result messages, severities, customize visualizations of issues, check models using complex geometric algorithms, import parameters, of course, from Excel or XML, CSV, export different kinds of reports in different kinds of formats, and even integrate with other software. Last but not least, we have the ecosystem integration. What this means actually is that we are able to take Solibri and the work being done in Solibri and integrate it into an existing BIM or model process ecosystem of the customer. Some of these integrations are, for example, Plant Manager, Monitor, Private Issue Manager, of course, Customer Help Desk, Rules Updater, Rules Manual Viewer. On top of all those three phases or parts that I have mentioned, now that we have become the first certified developer partner in the Solibri third-party developer network, we are now backed by Solibri, as it has been mentioned, whether it is in direct support from Solibri, whether it is from the training perspective, and of course other advantages that it gives us. It really means that we have first-line support from Solibri, and it allows us to cooperate, to work with the customers on features beyond the rules, and it really adds on top of the values that we add for our customers. It only strengthens our position and really shows that we have the capability and the capacity to fulfill, let's say, any need with regards to Solibri. The last part of our presentation, as I mentioned, there'll be 2 case studies that I would like to cover. One of them is from a Japanese construction company. The other one is from Singapore. Give me just a second. Starting with an overview. For this customer, we were required to develop a quality control system for Japan's top construction company. It really was one of the first projects in Solibri that we have done, but still, of course, being quite large. I mean, the budget was around $6 million, and the quality management system used Solibri to check the quality of architectural design and notify design issues. Of course, there were 2 major challenges, one of them being the Japanese construction regulatory requirements. This was something, as I may have mentioned before, really required us to establish an on-site business analyst team with deep knowledge of the construction domain and you know, let's say, process these requirements in order to be able to have specifications that are required. Then on the other hand, it was also standardization of models. What this means actually is that some of the models were inconsistent, and we needed to, let's say, rework them or to streamline them into to create a standard that we can work with. You know, I just want to emphasize really that what we were quite proud of was that our business analyst team is right at the customer. They go over all of the requirements and then come up with the plan, you know, how to understand them and how to process them. Of course, one of the other advantages was that all of the project members were able to communicate in either Japanese or English. The results were quite remarkable. We've managed to analyze 100 regulatory requirements from different areas like fire safety, pipe system, earthquake, ventilation, rain, wind pressure, beam strength, structure model, entrance and exit. And this resulted in 100 rules developed. Of course, as a bonus on top of that, we were able to seamlessly integrate Solibri into the customer's existing ecosystem. I just want to reiterate that as one of the first projects, it was really challenging, and of course we managed to develop 100 rules, which is quite a lot, and really showed or even assured us that that we are, you know, capable of let's say, becoming even more proficient in Solibri. Moving on to the second case study for Singapore Construction Group. In this case, we cooperated in the pilot phase. We digitalized checking processes of BIM submittals for regulatory compliance for Singapore Construction Group, and we streamlined the BIM checking before submittals for regulatory compliance. In this case, we were actually approached by Solibri to collaborate on this project, and of course it was a tougher nut to crack, especially because not only similarly as with the previous case study, there were Singaporean construction and regulatory requirements that we had to go over, but of course, well, not of course, but there was another challenge, that was a lack of real-life models, which resulted in an uncertainty how the models would look like in real life. And it meant we had to create custom models to check the rules. So it even added work on top of, let's say, the work we had to do. Similarly as before, we've managed to gather a team with a deep knowledge of the domain that was actually nearshore in this case, but was consulting with the domain experts, created test models for rules, and simply allowed the project team to thrive and to, of course, fulfill the project goal. The results were that 10 regulatory requirements have been analyzed, such as green buffer, earthwork, or a rebar, and we have developed 6 rules in total. This was actually, let's say, again, a challenge for us from the perspective that this was another country with a different set of regulatory requirements that we had to go over. But lastly, we managed to succeed and lead the project to the happy end. And I hope that I've covered what you were eager to hear. Thank you for your attention, for being here with us today, and I'll hand over to Rina.
Thank you so much, Tomas, for your presentation. So yeah, please, if you have any questions for Tomas or to us, you can send them now to the chat. We can start soon to go them through. While I wait for your questions, I'll have another poll for you. So it would be great to hear what has been your outcome so far from today's presentations. Is there would you do you see that you would need help from this type of third-party developer when developing new rules for your projects, or would you or your organization be interested in becoming this kind of developer, or could you maybe partner with a third-party developer on some projects you have, or maybe none of the above interests you, but it would be nice to hear. Just waiting a little while longer for you to give your responses. And when you send, if you have questions and you send them to the chat, it would be really great if you can say if it's more for Solibri or for FPT. It will make it a little bit easier for us to go the questions through. So yeah, now roughly half of you have so far voted. I'm gonna give it a little while more and then we can start going through the questions. Okay, maybe we can close the poll now. I will show what kind of replies we got. So quite evenly kind of shared these different responses. So there are a few people who would see the need to either have some help from a third-party developer, or maybe partner with this kind of developer in some project, and a few are also interested in becoming a developer, and then there's roughly a third of of you who didn't see these options interesting for you, I hope you still got something useful or learned something from today's session on how these kind of options maybe in the future could help you. But yeah, maybe we can go next to the questions part. So at least there was a few that come in. I'm just gonna check that we have the mics open for everyone. So yeah, Wafa, is there something you see where you can help our
Yeah,
audience?
there is one question about do you have a list of development company which have capability to create rules, especially in France? Like we mentioned, the program has just started, so we are having like our second developer to be certified soon. Like we mentioned, actually, for example, for FPT software, they are willing to, to my understanding, and we know they are willing to work all over the world. So it doesn't matter if it is France or it is like Middle East. The company has good capabilities of developers using English and maybe other languages as well. So for now, we don't have a specific developer who is in France, for example, situated. But we could connect you to FPT software and see the possibilities for that if you are interested. We can ask our sales department so that we'll connect you. You can like contact us and we will just try to connect you to our developer.
Thanks, Wafa.
Yeah.
I can also see a couple of questions related to how you could learn more about adding the rules in Solibri. So I can, if there's people online who want to learn yourself to do that, we have started this tutorial series quite recently, which is available at solibri.com. If you go there to the learn section, there's like how to get started with adding the rules or creating the rules, utilizing the rules. So you could check that one out, and that could help you get started. But then, of course, if it's more related to this type of learning that I think you mentioned, Wafa, in your presentation, that we do educate the people who want to become these third-party developers, that we have training for them, especially what we offer.
Yeah, like I mentioned, we have like almost like the program running on 3 groups for now, for private companies to become developers, for private developers themselves on Solibri development platform, and also for the universities. So if there is any private developer who would like to be like learning how to develop rules, please just join the Solibre Society, and there you can onboard actually yourself and with the assistance of Solibre as well to learn how to create rules.
Great. Maybe Tomas, is there something where you can help with? I think there were a few questions also for FPT. I think, Tomas, you are muted at the moment. I can just comment. There came just a question in about how to join Solibre Society. So you can find this link also from our website, and I can add guidance for you in an email that we send after today's this webinar session. So yeah, you will receive email later on that. Sorry, I think, Tomas, there was something happening with the muting, but I managed to unmute you now. So if there was something you can help the
That's fine.
audience.
I've just been quiet for the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we've received some very interesting questions. One of them regarding the FPT University, can a normal architect enroll to learn about the entire building digitalization / development? Very interesting question. Actually, I'm not aware of all of the study programs or let's say the syllabus that we actually have for our university, but I'll definitely follow up with that if we actually have a specialization in that. And then I will probably, let's say, answer around 3 questions in one answer. Some of you were asking to actually see the rules that we developed, to see a complex rule or any custom rules that we have created. Of course, we would be very glad to share them. I will have to check with my team due to the confidentiality of the information in the rules. We will see if we are able to let's say transform it in a way that we can share with you and come back to you on that. But thanks, actually very good questions and relevant ones. So I'll follow up after the webinar.
Thanks, Thomas. I'm just checking what other questions we've got here. Yeah, like Thomas said, that we can, if there's something that we aren't able to help you with now during the live session, or if we accidentally miss your question, there's a few here in the chat. Don't worry, we're gonna check these out after the session, go them all through, and we can also get back to you offline. And I can add some tips for you in the email that we will send after the session. Sometime after the session, I will add a link to this recording of this today's session, and in addition, I will add you tips on the articles and tutorials that we have regarding how to work with the rules in Solibri, and also how to join Solibre Society. So you will get all of those to your inbox later on if you can wait for that. I'm just gonna check from Wafa if there's anything else you're able to comment already now, or how does it look?
Yeah, I might comment also on maybe somebody would think why would be like employing, for example, third-party developer for just modifying some rules. Of course, you don't need to do that, and that's why the program contains onboarding actually companies, and then the private developers and the university students. So if you think that you are able to do any kind of development work as a developer, private developer, please join the Solibri development platform and train yourself. You can do the onboarding yourself, and then you can do the modifications for the existing rules, or much more even, creating your own rules. And that's why we are having this program in 3 branches. So any individuals want to become freelance developers or like work within their own company, you are welcome to join our Solibri development platform for that. Not necessarily employ a third-party developer, but it is meant for big companies with big projects with like hundreds of rules requirements, and those, yes, will need companies like FPT and others.
Thanks, Wafa.
Yeah, that's from me. Thank you.
All right. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in related to today's presentations. just checking once more from Thomas, was there anything else you can add now, or shall we check these rest of the questions offline and so to
I
give
don't see
you
anything else coming in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just follow up on the ones that I've mentioned. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for you, Tomas and Wafa, for presenting today. Thank you very much to our audience who've been really active in our polls and with the chats. Like I mentioned, we will check the questions once more offline after today's session. So please don't worry if we didn't reply to you directly already. So we will try to do that after the session to help you forward. Yeah, that's everything from us today. Hope you learned something, and hope to see you soon again in our next webinars that we will arrange in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for coming by.